Welcome back to What Remains. This is session 49 entitled To Dark Flame, which is hilarious. Last session, the group fell out of the sky in the Mudis region of Munio Kingdom in Osiria, one of three of the triumvirs of Osiria. Um, they didn't know exactly where they were, other than they were in a kind of wooded area, wild lands, um, strange region, kind of in the shadow of mountains. Based on what they knew about the dread plane they were in and the spatial placement of that place in um, the material plane, they assumed that the mountains they were looking at were the Ice Fang Mountains of this region and have been proven correct in that degree. In the middle of the night, as they rested after their um, searching around the area and kind of gathering where they were, a pink star fell from the sky, leaving a strange glowing light. Estella and Cal were too afraid to take up the item. And eventually, a group of orcs came and acquired the stone that glowed pink light. They have since followed the tracks of those orcs and have made their way to what they know to be called Dark Flame, a on the exterior, it appears to be a settlement, um, very much crafted of the materials of the environment. There are stone structures on the interior, but most of the exterior structure appears to be made out of sturdy wood. There are also structures on the interior that appear to be made out of dark wood, which the elvish or historically trained individuals would know. Dark wood is the wood of the old forest, the one wood from well before history. And it would seem that these orcs have a strong settlement here up on the hill in the shadow of the Ice Fangs. Upon reaching the door, they were stopped by the guard, and eventually a shaman, the very same shaman Kel saw acquire the stone, comes out to meet you. Um, he looks to you and says, "Welcome to Darkflame. Do I know you?"
No,
Looking at
not yet.
looking at
I am
Reuben,
Hezrod.
looking at Reuben mainly, but then as Hezrod speaks, "You don't see many merfolk in these parts."
I get that a lot.
Hmm.
You said he was looking at Ruben first?
When he said, "Do I know you?"
Yeah. Okay. And I don't recognize him, correct?
No.
Okay.
Silence
Okay.
fills the air.
So
We-
I remember last time, wasn't Kel questioned based on being seen earlier as well?
They didn't really say anything. The guards had recognized him.
Okay, all right.
Right. They definitely noticed me when I was watching them.
It does seem that the shaman or spiritual leader here is taking more of an interest in the mage of the group. And the look he's giving you does seem to be a look of recognition, but obviously one not shared by you.
Okay.
So what brings you here to Darkflame? Yeah, I've said to Darkflame twice already. I'm going to keep doing
Too
it.
dark.
So the name.
Too dark, too flame.
So that
Ruben steps forward and says, and tips his hat and says, "Hello, I am Ruben, and we have come seeking the stone that's fell from the sky. We saw it earlier this morning, and we believe it might be in your care now."
You see his ears kind of twitch as you speak, and then kind of lean forward. And he kind of smiles. Jernarin?
Yes.
Last time I've heard an accent like that. 90 years ago, during the end of the Civil War. Conglomerate mages had such an accent.
Yes, there are quite a lot of them in Janarin.
It's interesting that a
Alright.
Janaran shows up to inquire about a article of such arcane importance.
Well, I am a mage. Items of such importance are, not unanimous among us folk.
Didn't
But
you say you were a wizard?
well, isn't that, as I
The-
said?
The orc says synonyms. They mean the
Yes,
same thing.
I've told you this a couple times, Soma. That we have many names.
And you see him kind of like do this like transactional, like trying to figure out like there's obviously some sort of discrepancy there. But then he kind of eyes widen and then kind of like smiling. The article, we weren't sure as to what it was. As you may be aware, all sorts of things fall out of the sky or rise up out of the earth due to the conflicts that happened here during the Civil War.
Good nods.
In recent times, we have seen craft of Jernaran make, conglomerate mages recovering items to the west of here. However, we weren't sure what this matter was. We investigated it, acquired it, identified it, and I have plans to send it on its way to a person I trust. The Hand of Mutis.
Is that a title I recognize?
The Hand of Mutis is a recent name or title. It specifically belongs to one individual and has only belonged to one individual. A mage who started a school in this region. A mage named Benson Bardock. A halfling. Fortune teller.
He sounds really cool.
He is awesome. Chody should be proud.
He should.
I see. Might I be able to observe it at least?
We have only just met, and so far as to
Of
say...
course. I don't mean to be rude or whatnot. I'm getting ahead of myself. The excitement of seeing such a stone fall from the sky, if it is what I believe it might be,
A
just
Cyric stone.
made me forget. Yes, it is.
He nods his head. It is indeed.
There's open excitement in Ruben's face. Almost like the transgressions of yesterday have, for a moment, left his purview.
He says, unfortunately, I would not be interested in displaying it openly due to the nature of the article. We initially had thought and had hoped that it was a stone related to the obscurities. Unfortunately, it seems that the lingering magics of the gate were present upon it, and in sooth, it is actually darker in color, if you understand my meaning, mage. Probably bleeds more towards a black color. And you would know, based on the spectrum, these kind of things happen in magic.
Would we be imposing by staying at Dark Flame, or is this more of a private fortification?
We have no issue with guests.
As soon as it is from where we're at, can Hezrod see anybody that seems to be I guess carousing or drinking or hanging out and eating?
Not really. Due to the earliness of the hour, most people you are seeing kind of bandying about are mostly kind of laborers. It
Okay.
does look like there is some effort kind of in their workmanship towards the north side, and it looks like a lot of materials are kind of entering from the gate this morning, kind of moving that way. Or not so much entering from the gate, are kind of staged near the gate and are kind of moving that way.
So that is like mention. I'm sorry. What did he say? He said basically it's like he doesn't mind visitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it basically as soon as he says that, Hezron just like wanders into town and just starts like wandering around.
He doesn't seem to mind.
Ruben kind of goes to, and then just deflates a little bit. And I would love to talk with you more about this device.
I'm absolutely free for the next few hours. If you'd like to accompany me to our hall.
Of course. If you would be ever so kind as to lead the way. For the moment, Ruben has forgotten the party completely.
He turns about in kind of like a martial manner, and kind of makes a gesture with his hand. The two guards at the gate move to his side and kind of walk with him back towards where he came from, which appears to be one of the buildings that's made out of dark wood. After the two guards leave the gate, two new guards kind of appear and start pushing the gate closed, allowing you access into Darkflame, which is not so much a town as it is a fortified position. Hezron, as you're kind of... Oh, everybody's in the wrong square.
Oh no.
It's fine. Hezron, as you're kind of wandering about, you're not seeing anything that really kind of denotes like a tavern or a drinking or a tap room or anything to that effect.
Any food or drink, even like a rain barrel?
A rain barrel? Yeah, you could find that.
Okay, yeah, he finds one and he walks over and he kind of looks in it and he takes like a scoop of water and like kind of not so much drinks it as like just shoves it in his face.
Okay. Yeah,
So he's like smelling and tasting it at the same time.
It does look like there are a lot of natural kind of rain catching devices about, and it looks like in some of the buildings, it looks like they've been kind of generated so that each of their corners kind of has this runoff into these points.
So nothing funky about the water.
Mm-mm.
Cool. Like no, like it's drinkable water. He just like grabs the edges of the rain barrel and like shoves his whole head in there.
Yeah.
So that any passersby, it looks like he's just sort of like in the barrel.
Nobody seems to be too terribly concerned with you. It looks like they are very much kind of focused on their tasks at hand. Anybody else?
And all the bugs in that barrel.
There are probably some Striders on the top, but nothing crazy.
Oh, so that makes it soup.
Technically. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got protein.
Well, like not like a bunch, like maybe 2 or 3.
It's a cold
like,
soup.
It's not a huge big deal. I mean, it is standing water, so it does look like there's some kind of means of. It doesn't look like they just leave it still, so there aren't like mosquitoes or anything.
Soup.
A mosquito larva. Ugh.
No, it's not. It's not gross. It does look like they
Soup.
use this water.
Soup. It's still just soup for them.
It just gets
Yes.
like that little slime on top, and it's just
It
like
doesn't even matter.
Soup.
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 rain soup.
Need a picture.
That's
of,
soup.
Hezron with like a pot belly and say this is.
I guess I'll get to work.
That's good
Yeah,
soup.
Get to work.
Eat soup.
Avran, Soma, Kel, Estella, anything that you're wanting to do directionally? Are you going with Ruben? Are you going in other directions, etc., etc.?
Is there a place that looks like a church nearby?
Not at all.
Okay.
I'm curious if they do any kind of trade here.
Great question. Do you field the question to anybody in particular, or do you just wander?
Who's around me?
Well, again, right now it's Ruben, the leader,
Shaman.
the spiritual leader here, and the 2 guards.
I guess I'll ask just and one of the guards that replaced the guards going with Ruben and the shaman.
Okay. He says, in reply to your inquiry about trade, not really. We don't do much the way of mercantile other than the contracts that we sign for the nearbys.
Fair.
What are you looking for?
General stock, and nothing in particular. I was just curious. Or is something to do while our friend there is talking to your.
Well, it has been some time since the Virens Murph have traveled up this way. You don't happen to have any of the Myrrh tea about you, do you?
I may got a little bit.
Well, that would trade handsomely, and if you were looking for anything that was easily acquirable, I'm sure you could find it here. Easy enough.
Good to know. Any particular parts of the encampment?
You'd kind of be explained. It would be explained to you that like everybody kind of has their own like.
Okay. Good to know.
To kind of narratively put it to a beat that's more mechanical. If you were wanting anything that's kind of a mundane item out of the player's handbook, you could acquire anything out of that player's handbook with the exception of potions of healing, and all it would cost you is whatever you have left of your tea.
All right. Good to know. Other than that, I'll just kind of mill about.
Okay.
Well, Everyone will follow along with Ruben.
Okay.
Yeah, Selma will also wordlessly follow along.
Estella?
I guess sorry.
Oh, go ahead, John.
I was gonna say maybe I want to kind of like see what they're doing. Like, are they like doing any like training exercises or what kind of stuff like that they do?
It's mostly labor at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of. Bear with me here for a second. Sorry, I keep smelling something and I'm freaking out. 1 second.
Oh no.
It's not toast, is it?
Not
I hope it's, I hope it's not
God, no.
toast.
Oh,
That would be
It's
bad.
not toast.
it's probably a candle.
Yeah, probably. So this is a labor encampment.
Seems like it.
Oh, now might be a good opportunity for Hezrod to fix his spear.
Oh, there you
There you go.
After you.
You know why Chef Boyardee is not interesting?
What's up?
Why?
Because can dull.
right.
Jesus Christ.
You're worse than me.
I think it's competition now.
I'm not even competing.
Mm.
I never
Too
have
bad.
been.
Things would unravioli quite quickly.
Oh no.
God.
It's
begun.
This is getting too cheesy for me.
It's begun. The pun wars.
Was it a candle?
Yeah, my wife got a new almond candle. It smelled like gas.
Oh,
That was a good call.
that's not good. Estella would want to kind of just wander and see what the camp is like.
Okay. Are you looking for anything specific, or just trying to get an idea of like how it's laid out?
Getting more of an idea of how it's laid out and the labor that they're doing. I'm assuming that it's, since you said that it's very similar to like their like nature style is very similar to, I think you said wood elves.
Yeah,
She'd
yeah.
mostly be like seeing the similarity, looking at those.
It definitely has a more like as you're looking at it, it definitely has less enclave-esque construction, and it seems to be more kind of in line with the old techniques of the Tulamara Empire and how they kind of built structures. It's definitely a more permanent fixture.
Less nomadic.
Yeah. It doesn't look like they'll be pulling up out of the hill anytime soon, or it looks like they've been here for some time too. It definitely looks like they're repairing damages that appear to be on the north side of the fortified camp. From what you can tell, the damages on the on the north side appear to have pretty strong displays of fire damage.
Interesting.
And it doesn't.
Damn it, Hezrod.
It doesn't look like it was like instantaneous kind of burst,
Mhm.
more kind of like strong font of fire.
See, it
Okay.
wasn't me.
And it wasn't a wildfire of sorts.
No, it doesn't look like there's much damage on the forest outside of the hill.
So it's just like
But-
a little bit more concentrated.
Yeah, it does look like they're kind of breaking away the burnt portions of the outer wall and replacing them with new timbers that have been acquired, or new logs. And then there are some buildings on the interior that look like they're kind of being cleaned of their char.
Interesting.
But there's
So
Th-
as Hezrod is like, I guess
Well-
shoulder deep in a rain barrel.
yeah, I'm gonna continue with Estella just for a little bit because it sounded like she was gonna go for another like leading question there.
Oh, okay.
I
bad.
was gonna inquire about what had happened and
Okay.
With-
So you come up to one of the workers. Oh, bit of a situation there. Yeah, we've been in conflict with the remnants of the Dragon Cult's forces, and well, a number of their mages are quite skillful in their draconic magic. Fortunately, we have the grace of the Lady Orbicus herself, and well, unfortunately, she is quite busy in the south as of late, but they are not stupid enough to come deep into the heart of us. But they have been trying to keep us on our toes.
this is a continuing matter then.
Yes, they've been delving down from the mountains. I believe one of their cells is still bound up there in one of the caves.
That's quite frustrating, I assume.
It is indeed. Fortunately for us, the retinue of the Hand has already purged the mountain region of its horrible relics and artifacts. So they have no power. And they have no power to find up there. They'll get tired of it soon enough.
Very true. So, trying to starve them out, if you will, of power.
Well, we don't wish any ill will upon them. They're not our real combatants. And as yet, they have really not killed anyone. Just property damage. It's not that big a deal. Trees can be replaced.
Over time, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Seems that it is taking up quite a bit of your time, though I don't know exactly.
A nuisance to be sure, but again, you don't pulverize all nuisances.
This is true.
Unless you do. We've just met. Mayhaps
Depends.
that is what you do.
It depends on the nuisance, I suppose.
More than fair. So Hezra, Bucket Boy, you're
Good boy.
splashing out of your suit.
Boy.
You were gonna say something. Let's go ahead and
Yeah, a thought occurs to him.
Uh-huh.
He kind of like whips his head out of the bucket and like he looks around. Is there any place or anyone around here who would be able to fix my spear?
yeah. So you would definitely hear that there is a smith, and it does look like there's kind of like a section of the fortified location where the expert craftsmen are kind of located, not just the manual laborers and construction, like the more niche, like artificers. You could have it over there, absolutely. If you're wanting the item repaired, it is going to cost you not only money but time. Due to the weapon's nature and its current state, it is in the broken condition as far as repairs go. They can get it to a poor status in a day, and they can get it to a standard status in 2 days. And today could be the first day.
Could they actually like improve it beyond that?
Yeah, if you wanted to get it to superior quality, it would take you 4 days.
Thank you.
And my mending didn't do anything for that, right?
Yeah, mending just made it so that its magical properties exist, but it's technically broken. So
Yeah. Okay.
real quick explanation.
It's not going to disintegrate.
Mending
Yeah.
is used to fuse two portions that are broken
Right.
together. The weapon's broken trait isn't because it's been split in half. It's because it's no longer usable as a weapon because of the status it's in. So, yeah, similarly, if you took a sword, broke it in half, and then, like, taped it together at the middle, it may not function as well or at all as a sword. It would still be, it would be one piece, but
It's just duct tape.
It becomes a subsidiary or a facsimile of a sword,
Yes.
not the sword itself. Yes.
correct. Yeah, some things mending like will absolutely fix 100% all the time. Like if a ship has a hole in it, and you've got a piece to plug it,
Right.
bam.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a much more kind of it's a tool, and if a tool's broken, it's a little bit harder to kind of just put the two halves together and make it right.
Without really thinking, like,
Sure.
with the opportunity to get it back to like standard serviceable condition,
2 days.
Hezrod's more than happy to like agree to that.
Okay.
Is price an issue at this point?
So he would say, due to the residium cost that would be required for this, he would need 100 gold pieces, and you can pay that up front or at the end of the service. If you don't pay it, he keeps the item.
That's fair. I mean, it's not like I don't have the money.
And for him, 100 gold pieces, he'll repair it to whatever quality you want, just so long as you're willing to wait the duration. So if you just want it poor quality, he'll have it ready for you at the end of the day today. If you want it to standard quality, end of the day tomorrow. And if you want it to superior quality, it'd be today and then 3 more days after today.
Cool. Like, I guess if later like the party decides we're gonna be hanging out for a bit, he'll let the guy hang on to the spear and keep improving it.
Yeah.
But for now, he like starts digging through his shit, and he comes out with like a 50 gold piece gem that he had acquired earlier. And he says, will you accept this?
Absolutely. We'll just need one more and we'd be good.
Right. Sorry, this is the last one, but I also have this. And he throws down 50 gold.
Oh, perfect. And so he'll take the spear and start getting to work at it, fixing it.
Thank you.
He does make a comment. He goes, "Not a bad meant here, but what did this? It feels like the whole thing has been kind of split from the middle."
Oh, it was a crazy fox lady. Very rude, very rude. She tried to dismantle the whole thing, but Hezrod said, no, not my spear.
Ah, so a spellcaster. Okay, well, yeah, I'll get to work on it and see what I can do. And he kind of walks over to what appears to be like a earthenware kind of pot, pulls open the lid, and a light kind of glows out of it. Takes a bronze ladle and starts scooping out this kind of glowing magical dust and kind of pouring it onto
Good soup, Hezrod.
a small bronze kind of plate, and sets that closed, sets the spear to the side, and kind of starts kind of getting his tools ready. Leaving you moving back to the bulk. So Avran, Soma, Ruben, you three are kind of moving into the hall. And as you enter this space, you can see that there's probably about 5 more individuals who are similarly garbed, but with different kind of accentuations about them. 2 of them are orcs, besides the one that you have with you, so 3 orcs. And then 2 of them are goblins, and one of them is a bugbear. You do see that kind of in the back of the area, kind of like off to a space of, you would assume, reverence, but not like seated in the main hall and conversing like these ones are, is a human, and he's also similarly garbed to these individuals. As you kind of enter into the space, the shaman, whose name has not yet been asked or proffered, kind of makes a gesture towards a couple of cushions, very kind of neatly set down on the ground. The floor appears to be constructed of wood with a number of rugs and carpets that have been placed on it. To the more fashion-minded eyes, it definitely looks like it's very gaudy, very tacky. There's a lot of different colors on display here. But again, that might be really cool looking to others, just depends on your style. It definitely looks like it's a blend of kind of fashion senses that have been present here, so far as it goes to like organizing the room. And seated next to a couple of the seats, and a couple of the empty ones, are these strange devices which Stella, Ruben, and Soma would probably recognize immediately as Huga, kind of seated next to these just comfy looking chairs. And he
Sounds
gestures.
great if Estella was there.
Oh, I said Estella, like you were there. You're just really smart and would know what these are.
Oh, she would know what they
Yeah,
are.
and that's why
Absolutely.
that's why my brain went there. But like, yeah, Avrain has no idea. These are not something that would be Osirian or seen in Osiria very commonly. But yeah, they offer you those seats.
Ruben sits gently.
Very comfy cushion. Soma, likewise.
If there's a wall nearby, I'll just lean against that instead of.
Absolutely. Avrain.
Still have angry face, so don't want to get too comfy.
Everyone just stabbed.
Okay.
So rude.
Ruben kind of looks around at both of them and he says, if you're not comfortable being here, you don't. I'm okay on my own.
I don't have anywhere else to be other than Nox, so I may as well be here.
I apologize.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I can. Looks at the shaman.
And the shaman says, of course, no issue. Just advise your associates that regarding matters spoken about in the circle, if they are not seated, they are not welcome to interject.
Treating it as if they haven't heard it because they aren't part of the circle, Ruben half stands and speaks to them, repeating that same line to them. And goes to sit back down, but like waits for them to respond before he does so.
Soma will sigh and then come sit down.
So there's this moment where you're like, I'm mad at the world, I'm mad at everything. God, this sucks. Oh man. But when you get into that cushion, it's like, okay, maybe there are gods because they allowed this cushion that I am now seated in to exist.
Gonna be a little of this action.
Want to smile, but smile. Frown slowly turning upside down. Avrain, do you sit or no?
Yeah, everyone will sit. He wants to be a part of the discussion.
The spiritual
Ruben
leader
settles back down.
spiritual leader says to you three, welcome truly to Darkflame. This council sits over a compromise amidst the peoples of the region. We understand that our purpose and our strength is better through unification than through tumultuous turmoil. We've come together here and have formed treaties with what many outside of our region would consider dark powers, dragons of the chromatic nature. Does this trouble you, Ruben of Jernares?
Ruben basically makes a gesture of be at ease and says, as long as you have made a peace that is worthwhile, I cannot fault such action.
Well, I will have you know that dragon we have formed our association with, Orbicus, the Night Fang. She was the one responsible for stopping the tyrant Alron from destroying this region. And it was her skillful claw that led the retinue of the Hand to destroy the Wraith tyrant a year ago.
Impressive.
Indeed.
Are these commonly known events, or is this kind of new information?
It would be new information for you because it happened very recently
Right.
in your timeline.
Mm-hmm. Have I heard of the Wraith
Nope.
before? No. Okay. All right. So none of that rings any familiarity. Cool. But it does quite sound very impressive.
Alron will key on, though. There are a number of matriarch and patriarch dragons, the highest of. They're all descendants of Saland, the dragon god. Alron was the first gold dragon. So the shaman says, based on your inquiries and why you are here, I assume your intent was to ensure that this Cyric stone was in capable hands.
Quite perceptive, yes. And forgive me, now that we are seated and we are treating, I've given you my name. Might I ask yours?
Of course. I am Kren.
Ren.
Nods his head. Kren Darkflame.
That's the leader.
Yep. Those associated with me can introduce themselves if they wish. The other 5 seated kind of look to one another and shrug like they're not terribly interested in the conversation and are just kind of paying attention. Kren kind of looks back to you and says, I can assure you, we have magics that we have associated with us that have been seen as unlawful by some groups. However, in recent days, those judgments have been changed as new management seems to have befallen those who would carry out those laws. He kind of reaches down into his pillow, shuffles around a bit, and then pulls up a necklace, an amulet that has 2 serpents kind of interlinking around a kind of jade gemstone in the center. And everyone knows this symbol. It's the Conglomerate, an organization that is keyed on magical law. And he shows the article, then kind of sets it down in front of him, saying, recently one of their sky ships was in and around this region. They were dealing with a problem regarding mists in the region. These mists were known to us. That's a little over a year ago, the retinue of the Hand was in this region and entered into those mists, where they found a very powerful sword known as the Black Razor. They returned the sword to dwarves on the other side of the Ice Fangs, in a place called Bunrock. They did not raise that sword against the Wraith Dragon. But dark things were found in those mists, and the sky ship came about. And soon after they left, so did the mists.
A shame that they did not help with the Wraith. I'm glad that Orvicus was able to aid you in that time.
They nod. One of the goblins says, "They were not allowed to help. Unfortunately, due to their efforts in the Civil War and the treaty that we've held with Two Serpents, it seems that they are much hampered in their ability to deal with political matters, even ones as dire as a dead dragon wishing to usurp political thrones."
The dragon, you say?
Of course, I speak of the dragon tyrant, now Nephandus.
Said now Natharnus?
In the chat, NAU,
Gotcha.
NEFANDS.
Gotcha. TY.
Which, if you speak Draconic, you would know naming convention-wise. Alron means the Golden One, and now Nephandus means the Ever Night One, or the Wraith of the Sun, depending on runic or non.
Evil. Okay.
If they were to have helped, it would have been a boon, but the hand of Mutus and his retinue were more than capable in dealing with that fiend. Boka, I thank you for your words, says Kren to the goblin, who nods. You have more questions?
So I assume the dark nature you spoke of with the Xeric stone is that of the necrotic nature.
Necromancy, indeed. It is the hope that the hand will have some use for it in his academy.
You mentioned that the closest to the gate may have tainted it.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I love you, Brad. God damn it. Apologies. What did you just ask me? I was busy laughing at Brent in the chat.
He asked about the Xeric stone. There was mention of a gate maybe potentially tainting
no.
the stone.
Sorry. So no. Apologies. The Xeric stones, you would know, come from the
Right.
astral gate.
Yeah. Oh, the astral. Okay, I see.
Right.
Okay.
It's where they kind of sprung from when the firmament, for lack of a better term, was broken, and the stones were a part of that crystal. So these stones, he says it was probably altered in its course from that place to here. The light that shone, as you're aware, magic like signatures can kind of shift between kind of different positions. There's different colorations, and violet is not too far off from the spectrum. Also, in its own right, like illusion magic is very hard to detect, and its light kind of is more kind of a center point between indigo and black itself. So go ahead. Were you gonna say something, Jonah, or no? Just a
I wanted to ask about the hand of Mutus.
What were you gonna ask?
Who is that?
Benson Bardock, a mage of quite the reputation in the region. He fought against the Cult of the Dragon, the Crimson Scarves, the Azmuten Knights, grouping of ill-toward groups that had joined together in hopes of killing a dragon, taking its heart and using it in a ritual to summon forth Ashmedea, the Queen of Greed. According to the retinue and stories we have been privy to, it was the hope of Kalareth, the leader of the cult of the dragon. It was his goal to restore Ashmedea to serve as a vessel for Naunafondis, as the Wraith Dragon was unable to take lesser dragons as his host.
Thank you.
There have been skirmishes since that time a year ago, but I believe that the people who have risen to fight do so with the fortunes at their back. Goodwill for all. Josh, you do see a nod of recognition, but then kind of a curious stare from one of the, or from the bugbear. Nobody else seems to catch it. Soma, since you're kind of sitting quietly and watching the transaction, though, go ahead and make a perception check. Ruben, go ahead and make a sleight of hand, but you have advantage for it.
Okay.
Ooh.
17.
All right, sorry, I hate to do it to you.
It's fine.
You watch as Ruben, as they're kind of talking, and Avern's asking questions about Benson. He kind of moves to his coat, kind of pulls something out to kind of display something in his hand. And you catch a glimpse of it and see that it's the symbol of the conglomerate. Like an operator or operative's marking. The bugbear seems to take notice, but kind of takes a quizzical look. So the only two people that seem to notice were you and him.
Conglomerate.
Avern, any other questions about Benson? Or the hand, rather?
Shit. I can't remember, but Avern knows of Donovan Sloan, right?
I don't. Oh yeah, he was mentioned by Umasath.
Okay, yeah. Does this Benson, does he work with Donovan Sloan?
Kren kind of, not that we're aware of, but it wouldn't be I wouldn't doubt it. Giant Friend is currently engaged in conflicts in the south, the Black Fens, with an entity known as the Renegade. Again, out of character, think about the words that are being said, check your notes.
Yeah.
The Renegade.
Yeah, that was the gentleman that we were supposed to fight.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
aware of
when
who the
we-
renegade is, but Hezrod's not there, so he can't comment on it. Although I suppose this is as good a time as any for him to find his way back to his friends.
Let's see. I got an idea. Pick a number between 1 and 6.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Choose a number between 1 and 6.
Yeah, true chaos. Let's do it.
Okay, true chaos.
Oh yeah.
4.
Okay. All right. So
I was gonna pick.
you will arrive in 1 minute in real time. So in 1 minute from this moment. So at whatever a minute from now is, if you want to set a stop clock or whatever, you can just
7:55.
hop in and start talking like you are there.
I actually wanted to ask the same.
But if you want to have found Kel and brought him along, add 2 minutes
Yay.
to that time. And
Find me.
if you want to have found them and go with them, you can. But it sounds like you're doing more investigative work outside, so
Yeah.
absolutely fine there too. But yeah, back inside. And start the clock.
The renegade. I thought that creature was locked in Sifford's Pass.
I do not know what a Sifford's Pass is.
Well, we have had a similar creature possibly take up the same name.
About a year ago, a conflict in the Black Fens led to the destruction of a number of individuals in and around the region, specifically attacks against the Sharp and the town of Armskirk. These entities came out of a bastion of broken claws, as it's called, some place of old elvish repute. They were initially stopped by the retinue of the Hand, who entered into what was called the Doom Vault and investigated it, but upon exiting were soon followed by an army of evil doers and beings who had apparently been locked away in that space.
Cow! Cow, they're over here!
Oh, okay.
Ruben's head like whiplashes around like, oh god.
Yeah, the doors aren't left like closed or anything, but you definitely enter in Hezron and Kel very shortly after that kind of outburst. Kren kind of looks to Ruben and gestures. Of course, you have the same. They have the same treatment. Our guests, they may sit at their pleasure. You would see that the bugbear is kind of like very much focused on that hookah, kind of like, and just watching Ruben very intently.
Yeah, he sees the bugbear like huffing on the hookah and he says, "What is that?"
Are you standing or seated?
He's standing.
Nobody pays attention to you.
Hezrod, or sorry, Ruben does his half stand again. No, he fully stands at this point. Says, Hezrod, in order to speak with the circle, you must sit at it. There's a few extra pillows, and they are quite soft, but they will not acknowledge you until you sit.
Okay.
Soma will nod reluctantly when the mention of the pillows being comfy is
like, they're not lying.
Are there any open seats near the bugbear?
No. It seems like you have kind of like a semicircle of the NPCs, and then there are a couple of pillows out to the side that have been kind of made positions for everyone else to sit. I assume Ruben is sitting as close to the council as possible, and then Avran and Soma as far away as possible. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Hezron takes a seat and then immediately repeats his question. What is that?
Kren kind of shrugs and he says, "It is known amongst humankind as devilweed. We understand it to be the Wysian plant. It is something that is imbibed for pleasure, but sometimes for clarity."
Yes,
Is
like
Soma familiar
alcohol.
with that, since he's familiar with the hookah itself.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to partake.
Yeah, I was just gonna chime in with Hezrod. It'll be less excruciating than that flower that you ate.
Oh, that was tasty. Strange, but tasty. He holds out
taste
a
go bad
hand.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Kind of reaches for the hookah.
Well, if you kind of reach over to it, because you'd probably be seated next to one, you'd be able to pick up the hose and kind of watching the bugbear, who's kind of performing in a purely perfect etiquette regarding hookah. You very quickly learn the artifice of it, and when you take your first drag, go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
So when Hezron does it, it's like he puts it in his mouth and he like inhales like really hard, and you
Yes.
watch his gills like suck closed. And then when he exhales, it's like his gills open up and like smoke billows out of him.
I don't know if it's going to be that clean, but yeah, let's see. It might be more of a like you become a choo-choo train.
If you're within 10 feet, you get a +5.
You said Constitution?
Yes. And yeah, if you do have aura protection, then
Oh, Jesus.
I got a 12.
Oh wow.
no, sorry. You do not gain any benefits or bonuses regarding protection. Sorry. Drugs
Oh,
saving
never
throws
mind.
are very specific.
Sorry. No
It's okay.
foul.
So yeah, I got a 7.
It's okay.
Yeah, you have to be a paladin of the Dare order to offer saves on that, I guess.
I guess while he's doing that, I'll sit down in one of them and
Yeah, you'd probably be
do
familiar.
the same probably.
Yeah, you'd probably be familiar with Devilweed, to a degree, but you probably wouldn't be like
Athletics.
familiar with the specific artifice, as to how this is
No.
kind of, done.
We're more of a pipe and paper people.
For sure, but you definitely see like it does look like a lot of ingenuity
Right.
that has gone into it. So you can see like it definitely is neat. And when you take a hit, of course, Constitution saving throw as well. It definitely has a much cleaner, kind of more refined kind of measure to it. It's less smoke and more vapor.
So yeah, Hezron got a 7, Kel got a 9.
Okay. So coughing is absolutely something you will be doing, Hezrod and Kel. Regarding the what happens to you. So for about 40 minutes past this point, you have disadvantage on any intelligence or wisdom-based ability checks, as your mind is fogged. Additionally, you have an increased sense of kind of like anger, but more like a focus. It's not so much like an anger like you're mad at stuff. It's more kind of like a focused kind of energy, like you kind of have,
Or something
yeah,
that makes you angry.
yeah. If you deal damage with a weapon attack during the 40 minutes, you deal an additional point of damage. If you were raging, you increase your rage bonus by 1.
Interesting.
And
Nice.
yeah, that lasts for 40 minutes for this specific imbibing.
Wow.
The bugbear nods. With the host still in the mouth. And then Kren kind of continues. I totally forgot where we were.
Yeah, so has Hezron.
Classic has.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
we
Oh,
kind of tend to make the entrance.
Avran regarding the renegade and Donovan. It does sound like he didn't ask who is Donovan. He replied that Donovan appears to be fighting in the Black Fens currently. Any other questions, Jonah?
I mean, if I can get information on who is Donovan.
We know Donovan to be a person of importance amongst humankind, at least so much to say amongst those who have aligned themselves with him. They say he is a great king. We know not much about that. Most of our peoples have lived under Munio rule for their entirety. The King of Water is not really so much a king as it seems that this Donovan happens to be. It's more of a person of mediation and moderates.
Thank you.
Out of character, Do the halfling that they're going to be taking this Cyric Stone to, have I heard of? Does he have a reputation?
Benson Bardock doesn't have like a huge reputation based on the chronology that you have. What you would know is, according to like information you had kind of been given prior to arriving in the region, is that the Mudis region has a number of powerful wizards who are kind of offspring of Osiris' capital. And some of them have kind of taken root in areas after the Civil War concluded and have kind of gained a notoriety for their mage-like, competence. Some for good. It sounds like this Benson happens to be one of those elements, and some for more ill, kind of bad stuff.
When do you plan on handing off this item?
We've invited Benson to arrive here whenever he pleases to acquire the stone.
I was curious because I would be interested to meet such a person.
As a mage of great power, he has the capability to transport himself to this location at any time he so wishes. And he kind of gestures towards the middle of the room, and that's the moment where Ruben, kind of looking at the floor and this, like the room's like circular nature and the circular nature of the council seating, the center of the room is a teleportation circle, and it's very easy to memorize.
I think while the group is conversing, then I think that's something I might like to do. How long would that take?
Doesn't take too long.
Okay, all right. Cool.
No, bad.
Check. Kitty.
Yeah. Any other questions for the Council of Darkblade? The Generals of Darkblade?
Hezrod keeps puffing on the hookah.
It's really good.
At the mention of like Benson being able to like being a powerful mage that can basically make himself appear at will, Hezrod kind of nods and he says, "Yes, Hezrod can do that, but well, no, Hezrod makes people disappear forever."
What? Wait, what was that in reply to?
You're both correct.
Like the mention of Benson being able to make himself appear, like being a powerful mage that can make himself appear.
Yeah. Oh, we make people disappear. Got it. I got you.
Right.
Sorry. I guess it was.
Are you stoned?
No, I'm fine.
He's high on cat butt.
The joke wasn't great. Sorry. Hey, if I can straight roll my eyes at Elizabeth's puns, I can sass you for poor timing on jokes. Anyway, any other questions for these folks?
So the large threat out of the way. Is there anything at the moment that is more of a nuisance or threat to you now? I noticed that your fortifications are well kept. Is there any opposing forces to you and your people as of late?
Remnants, nothing that we can't deal with or care to deal with anyway.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, if you guys sit around and lounge without asking any questions or anything else, anybody who imbibed in the devil weed needs to make a Constitution saving throw after the 40 minutes pass. But yeah, again, I leave the matter open to you if you have any questions.
One of the leaders sitting at the table, they are a mage, right?
You don't know what their class is. Like, there's no
shit.
classes really.
Are they magically inclined?
You don't know that either. They look like they're spiritual types. Like, they look Like they're wearing kind of
Got
gaudy,
you.
non-armor clothing.
I got you. Shit. I mean, I kind of want to pull out the holy symbol and ask about it, but I guess I don't think it might not be safe. So yeah, no.
Do what you want.
Mm.
Okay. If not, time passes. You kind of collectively sit with these individuals, mundane conversations aside. At the end of which, go ahead. Did you have any questions besides that, John?
No.
Okay. So, Hezrod, you develop an addiction to devilweed.
No.
You are currently poisoned for 24 hours or until you take another dose of devilweed. You are sitting with it. So that's fine. If you would normally be immune to the poison condition, but you willingly took this drug, the drug ignores your condition immunity.
Well, yeah, that was going to be his question to these individuals was, where can I acquire more of this?
So Avran, being a keen kind of observer of disease and the like, addiction is one affliction that can be remedied with this drug specifically,
Okay.
with the use of lay on hands.
Gotcha.
But they say it grows wild about this area. The Wycian plant, it has to be prepared in a very specific way. I don't know if any of ours are really willing to go about the process of teaching someone, but I'm sure you could find it in and about wherever you are from.
Would herbalist tools come in handy for this endeavor?
Herbalism kit is required, yeah.
Oh, excellent, because Hezrod has that. He's also proficient in nature and medicine.
Sure. I'll go ahead and
Yes.
if you take the time to kind of learn the recipe, that's fine.
Fuck yeah. Yes.
You'll eventually learn what it does and what it is and the full traits therein.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
You can make devilweed so long as you can find the leaves of the Wycian plant.
Now it says it needs 3 days to dry out. Would a spell such as prestidigitation make that process go quicker?
No, it actually will ruin it.
Magic.
And putting it in a bag of holding like we did, drying out the meat.
That works.
Hey, we still have meat. Forgot about that.
It's not ready yet, but you do have.
Not ready yet, but we have meat.
Yeah, it'll
Okay.
probably be ready tomorrow.
Gotcha.
About a day after drying out.
I know I'm not an expert. Ruben isn't an expert on how Dread Realms work, but it does seem strange that we were up in the air of Hero's floating castle and then got sped out 300 feet in the air. Would it be too much of a stretch for Ruben to think that maybe there might be a connection between that castle and this region? Okay. Then I guess Ruben would ask if the phrase "the fabricator" does the title. No, they don't know. Okay.
Do you ask them about anybody else that has a name of interest?
How about the surname Rockscale?
The Rockscale name is familiar.
Specifically, a chap named Hero.
Hero once was amongst our number.
A
mercenary.
He was from this region?
I don't think he was from here. I think he was from much further south. I do believe his clan hails from Seosade.
Far as that?
It's very, very south.
Okay.
If you have history trained, you would know Seosade is also known as the Council of Worms. It's an island in the center of the Dragon Bay in Parnak, which is the southernmost province.
Gotcha. Okay. Ooh.
Fuck yeah, Parnak.
Of your number. Why was he here?
Darkflame take anyone who are competent in combat. He was a mercenary who recently had severed from his company and was looking for camaraderie. We granted it to him for a time, but then he headed east, back home, he said.
How long ago was that?
Decades.
Yeah, makes sense.
He wasn't much older than gestures towards Avran, and he is now, not knowing Avran's complications.
That's what, yeah, about to say. That's
Not wrong.
Avran
Old
looks
as
like a
shit.
man in his 20s.
Thank you.
Of course.
Do you require any assistance from adventurers?
We don't. Most of the matters in the region are handled either by the retinue a year prior or by a number of other small companies. You had mentioned Donovan, him included, but there are other groups that travel about. One specific mercenary who always shows promise, a fellow named Mirage. I believe he's over in town of Mudis right now, having recently stopped by here. Maybe 6 days ago.
I thank you for your hospitality, Shaman Kren. I know it is uncharacteristic for a company such as ours to just appear on your doorstep one day, but nonetheless, I thank you. If we were to stay until was it Brannigan? Brand something, the halfling sorcerer or halfling maid.
Benson Bardock.
Bardock. I don't know where. Okay, Bardock. I got that now. Would it be? Would we be overstaying our welcome if we stayed until Bardock came to visit, or?
You can say it as long as you'd like. The only expectation is as long as you are a guest of Darkflame, if we are set to combat for any reason, you will ally yourself as a cost of your hospitality.
yeah.
Of course.
Feel free to maneuver about the fort at your pleasure. Yeah, I'm going to cut from the inner hall. So Estella, wandering about. You have asked the main question, kind of what the problem was that caused the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other information you're wanting to glean about the fort town from the outside?
Not particularly anything specific. Maybe what was it? It was a bit how their defenses are.
Sure.
Just more of a curiosity.
Yeah, absolutely. So you would notice a lot of similarities with the Enclave kind of mentality on defense. It's not so much a defense from the walls or the parapets, it's more a defense on the outside. So you notice that there are several soldiers who are kind of stationed in the interior, but there are more so that are out and about wandering, some of which you passed on your way in. So elvish defenses, specifically for Enclave, fall in what is known as a scissor. And the technique is very simple. One part of the blade is on the interior, one part of the blade is on the exterior. Pincer.
Yep.
Yeah, scissor me timbers. Ha ha ha. Or are you talking about the things that you're posing?
Yeah. Just a different blingy for Hezron. Don't worry about it.
Got it. The weed gifts in the Discord. Got it.
My timbers.
Awful.
It does seem that the kind of loadout for the scout types, the ones who are out in a field, is not too dissimilar from Blade Masters. And the loadout or kind of the attire or look of the ones on the interior is a bit more kind of similar to Twilight Knights, which is shield and spear.
Yeah.
And then
Similar,
any
like
gun
what
use
you would
here?
expect.
No gun use. Cannons,
Could
though.
introduce
Cannons.
Ah,
Oh,
in a forest.
Yeah, well, it seems that
interesting.
the cannons that you're kind of seeing, Estella, kind of maneuvering about, not very numerous, and very kind of small cannon, not like large, boat cannons. And from what you can tell, they're not meant to fire large, like, munition. It's more kind of like a scatter shot.
Yeah. Understandable. Admiring the defenses, she'd probably make a comment to that to any of the guard that are around while she's wandering.
You're just asking questions and inquiring, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. More about like what's happening with the strange dragon cultists in the mountains, or I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the.
Well, if they're stationed in this way for just general defense, but then is it heavier on the backside where they're having this issue?
No, not so much. Right now, like there does appear to be guards present and like kind of forces present. You would notice that there do appear to be more exterior forces out in a field, but like the interior guard kind of remains the same. And you would know that the distance from like the gate that you entered into the north side of the town, 2 minutes maybe at most. If you're running, probably less, right? Kind of maneuvering through the town. It's not a massive like place. So the thought process you would assume would be the scouts are kind of focused on the exterior. And so if something were to happen, the blade of the scissor on the interior would very quickly kind of maneuver towards that
Close
side
in.
and then dispense.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I'm done wandering then.
And everybody else is done inside the hall, right? No other questions. Okay. So
try to figure out where they are and meet up.
I mean, Hezrod wants to get his hands on more of this shit as soon as possible.
Do you mention the fact that you currently have a person working on your weapon and it won't be done until tomorrow evening?
Yes.
Everyone wants to know if there were any either holy warriors or clerics among them.
No, there's no religious kind of signatures present within.
Nothing? Okay.
Yeah.
Hezrod does raise his hand.
Oh, okay. It's not a school, so you're probably getting more attention from your allies than any of the Dark Lanes.
Avren, are there any holy swordsmen or clerics? Hezrod, I'm a cleric.
Oh, that's what you were saying. I thought you were asking a question.
No.
Okay. Yeah, you got the one. But yeah, if you kind of go...
You got the one and he's yours.
If you go out and about and kind of look afield, you would note that Estella seems to be kind of doing the rounds, Avran, and you could probably link up with her. But yeah, you're definitely not seeing any kind of symbolism of a religious variety present here in Darkflame.
Gotcha.
So I guess like once everybody disperses, Hezrod says, Carol, if you're not busy, you should come with me. I'm going to go look in the woods for more of this devil weed.
Oh, yeah. You think you can find some of that around here?
We will find out.
I guess we will. I'll go with it.
Yeah, that's what Hezrod's going to be doing. He's going to be kind of like digging through the trees and stuff around the town looking for it.
Okay. How do you broach it to the party that you are stuck here?
Who, Hezrod?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in case he hadn't mentioned it before, he says, yes, we cannot leave just yet. There is an individual who is fixing my spear.
Oh,
It will not be done until tomorrow.
the Bitterheart.
Yes.
I don't mind some downtime, especially after the
Yeah,
shit we just went through.
I believe some
Continue to go
activities and
through.
rest would be good.
Yeah.
As we are welcome here, then.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's been very nice. It's surprising, but
The only
you know,
thing they expect of us in payment is if there is a battle to happen, then we are to attend.
Well, they do
yeah,
seem quite prepared for that.
Soma will
Well-
sigh, but just kind of shrug.
man, they seem like nice people. You know, good folk.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Perhaps when we are in the woods, we can acquire some food.
Yeah,
Everybody loves
I
to eat.
can. That's true. I can definitely hunt some.
Yes,
And,
I
of
can
course-
definitely eat something.
Is there a little training area that people
Yeah.
train on?
There
Okay.
there is, but there's nobody training at current. It seems like a lot of the efforts.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. Everyone will go and practices stances and swings and whatnot.
Okay. Ruben, do you remain in the council area or?
I will follow the group out for a moment to kind of get a feel for what the rest of them are doing, and say to Hezret, well, that works out in case it takes a bit for Bardock to arrive for the item. He's a chap I wish to meet before I feel okay about him taking care of that Cyric stone, so that might take a bit, but we can renegotiate after tomorrow to see if we don't know when he's coming. You know, I know we can't be here forever, but at least that will give you the time you need for your spear.
Also, finding Steed. Gonna summon my boy.
Okay.
Marcus. The Great Elk.
Absolutely fine. Why did it do a beeps?
The beeps.
Okay. Again, table's yours. Feel free to do what you like. Not everybody all at once, though.
Ruben goes back into the chamber and I guess being the last person of the group in there, unless somebody else remains, sits back down and appears open to be asked questions from Kren if interested, but if not, kind of opens a book and begins to read.
You'll note that as you kind of are leaving, it does look like they kind of start having conversation, and once you kind of step out, it does look like they kind of treat with one another. Does anybody else come back in with Ruben?
I think I would follow him in this time.
Okay.
Being done with the outside.
Training montage, baby.
Averin, you're going out with Hezrod and Kel.
Nope,
Or
we
you're
are training.
Hezrod
Yeah.
and Kel are going drug hunting, and Soma.
Sorry, were Ruben and Estella going back into the circle room?
Hmm.
I mean, I guess
I was
that's
going in for the first time, but yeah.
okay. Yeah. Ruben going back in, Estella for the first time.
Feels like the first time.
I guess since Soma is somewhat familiar and friendly with Estella, and the seats were fairly comfortable, and he has nothing else to do other than stew over his vengeance, he would probably also end up back in there.
Any kind of moments you want to have on the way out or on the way back in? Like, since you and Ruben and then now Estella are kind of okay, cool. Stepping back inside, you kind of move back to the cushions and sit. Kren kind of looks to the group and nods his head and says, my associate would very much like to ask you some questions. Nothing too prying. The bugbear kind of leans forward with the hookah and says, I don't think it would be too prying, but with him having displayed it, you are an associate of the conglomerate? Are you not?
So Ruben takes a long look at both Soma and Estelle, who he has no idea that
Stella.
Soma's.
Stella.
There's an A at the end.
I said Estella.
You said Estelle.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah,
Filler.
Ruben.
In my head, I did, but I guess it didn't
Yeah,
come
Rubine.
all the way out.
Rubine.
Ruby.
Rubine.
Cut up
Ruby.
the last letter. Get him. Okay, sorry. Continue.
He takes a long look at both of them, sighs, and says, "I am, yes."
Are you a member of the group that came with the massive flying ship, or some other matter?
I am currently operating alone, or, well, I guess you could say I'm operating with this group, or they're operating with me. We seem to have found ourselves in similar company.
The bugbear kind of. They didn't know your affiliation.
No.
Interesting. That is what I suspected. Looking over to Kren. Kren kind of nods his head. I understand that you and yours have a lot of hatred that permeates throughout the Three Kingdoms due to the efforts of the Lich Majir. I understand your caution. My goblin associates are not terribly fond of being made aware that you are lying to those that you are currently engaged with, but I and Kolar do not see as much of a issue with it. That being the case, if your efforts are in league with the conglomerate we have been allowed to know in recent months, then I assume your endeavors are here to right the wrongs that were set before you.
I currently have just found myself here. We were intertwined in a different journey that some magic spat us out.
Hold, sorry, wait. The goblin says, yes, I feel it. Please, wait. Gestures towards the circle. After a fashion, kind of a purple light starts to appear in the center. Spiraling kind of appears about the circle. And you watch as like teleportation magic starts to kind of fill the center of the room. A couple of people kind of stand up and kind of step back a bit, in more kind of a prepared nature. The bugbear, Kren, and the goblin who's currently yelling don't. They seem to be fine, casually sitting. And then after
Mimic Kren.
yeah. And then after a fashion, the shining displaces, showing kind of the teleportation from one position spatially to this position specifically. And you watch as a woman appears wearing kind of like a wide-brimmed pointed hat. She is wearing kind of just very slim looking kind of attire. And she doesn't seem to be Benson Bardock, or what from what you can tell. But she appears looking to everyone, and then she looks to Kren, and in perfect Orcish says something. Does anybody here speak Orcish or no?
I don't think so.
I have some random languages. Let me look.
Let me just write those down. DJ.
Nope.
I trust you, Tom.
No. It's you said the language was like the Dwarven alphabet or something earlier.
Giant.
Okay, no, I don't have anything along those lines. The weird one that I picked up was Undercommon. I couldn't remember what one.
Yeah, her light green hair, very wide-brimmed hat, and very kind of small frame, and simple kind of purplish-looking robes. She appears and starts kind of talking to Kren in Orcish. And she then kind of looks at the group and seems to look towards Estella, a bit more focused, but then kind of, catches Soma and Ruben as well. Kren says in the comment on Master Ruben and your associates, this is the representative of Benson Bardock, one of his acclaimed professors. This is, as he's about to introduce her, she very quickly kind of cuts him off and says, I am Lady Maris. And you
Welcome.
are?
Estella Methenlos.
Gary Soma.
Of Mare? She says to Estella.
Indeed.
The name's familiar. What are you doing so far afield?
I wonder that myself, often.
Interesting. Interesting to be sure. So I'm here to recover the stone, Kren. Is that still the matter? Lady Maris, the stone does not appear to be what we had expected it to be. I was hoping that Benson himself would have arrived to inquire about it more directly. But since you are here, I suppose it is not an issue for you to peruse it. There was a request made by this young mage here regarding seeing it as well. The orc, again, you assume is probably in his hundreds. So Ruben's probably not often called young, but
Yeah, he catches himself like looking quizzically, and then remembers he's among non-humans, and that's it's yeah.
You're just a wee babby.
Right.
Ruben, technically the youngest in our party.
No. It is
Or is
Soma.
it Soma?
Or Hezron.
Oh, a babby.
Soma.
Yeah, I'm 52.
Okay, fair.
I think
fair.
Hezron's in his 30s, right? And Soma's in his 20s, 30s? And Kel's in his 20s,
Oh.
30s?
Oh, okay.
We babbies.
I assumed we were just all old.
Avran's 90 and Estelle's 100 something?
Yeah, like 130 something,
Yeah.
140 something.
Yeah, but that's like what, 12 and Elvish?
Nah, it's
No, it's like 20s
It's like 12 and L.
20.
ish.
Yeah. They're young.
Yeah.
But Lady Maris looks to Ruben.
I am Ruben Ronali.
Kren says, a conglomerate operative.
Yes.
Maris nods her head. Huh. Interesting. So boldly on display here in this region. Knowing full well what your people have done here.
Well, I'm finding that out more as I go. I'm not quite as familiar with this region as it seems some of my group have been, but there are many of the conglomerate whose actions I would not look kindly on. In fact, I have hunted such and brought them into justice.
Self-policing. Understandable. I would not be interested in sharing any insights into the stone with this mage, Gren. If you wish for it to be the case, I will, since it is in your possession, allow him access to it, but my personal preference would be to keep it barred from him. Kren nods. I understand, Lady Maris. I will make sure that Benson is made aware of your... She kind of stops. Fine. I will allow this guest of yours to be privy to the site of the stone and analyzation therein. Kren nods his head kind of towards Ribbon, and then kind of reaches down into his pillow and pulls out kind of a dark pink stone. Kind of raises it up, and kind of moves towards the center of the room on his knees, kind of looking to you. Lady Maris, who immediately upon teleporting in, before talking to anybody and engaging, had been seated. I forgot to mention that, but that's just my bad DMing on full display in front of all of you.
How dare you? No.
She kind of moves into the space, kind of on her knees as well, looking towards the stone that Kren holds up. It is indeed a Syrinx stone. She smiles. Looks to you across the way. Do you move over and check it out?
I do.
Yeah. It very much has every kind of resonation of a Syrinx stone that you would expect. There's one thing that kind of makes you want to explore it a little bit further. It does look like the stone itself, now not a bright kind of shining light, and kind of not explained as just a pink light. You can actually see that the stone appears to be two different types of material that appear to be fused in the center. So it looks like there's a kind of pinkish portion with kind of like a midnight kind of violet colored top stone. It looks like they're kind of cleaved together, like they've fused in the middle.
Fancy.
Does that sound like two fused Syrinx stones?
Sounds like two shards that look like they've been kind of conglomerated.
Ha.
Conglomerated.
Would an Arcana check give me any more than that?
You can make an Arcana check.
14.
You're not certain. You definitely know that it is very much resonating a bit of magic that does seem to be similar to what you detected back there. A high potency of illusion magic. That's raw, that's real, that seems to be the case. Whatever this other darker shard is, you're not sure what that is. If it's not just some kind of subset of illusion magic or something that kind of leans deeper into the spectrum of magic. Brett would like you to mail the stone to him.
That's because Brett is a raven.
No, that's because the item has
It's like, ooh, shiny.
it has significance to his group that is different to the significance to your group. They interact with the world a bit differently than most folks.
Got it. Okay. Well, also it's shiny, right? So he'd like it mailed.
It is shiny. Brett would love it. Yeah. Based on that. Wear it as a necklace. Who knows?
I see what you mean, Kren. This is what I originally thought. It is illusion, but it is something else entirely.
This is what we detected. This is definitely what we had explained to you it would be, but she kind of gestures for it to take it. She kind of is holding the stone in her hands, kind of looking at it. And she kind of moves her hand against it and then to the side. You see the illusion magic kind of pull like a wave of light kind of exiting the side of the stone that she seems to kind of move off to the left. And staring at it, she kind of looks to the right side, and you don't see like any light kind of coming from it. It's like at the band where the stones seem to connect, there's like negative pink light. There's like an inversion of the light kind of entering into the dark side of the stone. This is the part we want. She holds the stone up and kind of places her hands on both sides of it, and after a moment kind of speaking and chanting, seems to cast a spell on the stone and splits the two. Safely. Like, at first you're kind of like, but then you see them kind of sever, and you realize that they were They were never intended to be connected in this way. And she hands the pink side to Kren, and she looks to the dark side of the material and says, "This is what Benson had sensed at the Sakalum. We will take this. This would be of interest to us as well, but of course, these are not one and the same." She looks to Reuben. As a show of good faith of the Academy of the Hand towards the conglomerate, you see her kind of like angry at the words, like she's saying them, but she's like forcing them out of her face. "We will allow this item to be taken by this operative and preferably placed inside of the museum at Old Heisrink. At your leisure, of course. And if you wish to report to the mages therein regarding this other piece, we will allow any inquiries regarding this dark shard to be allowed access to the shard so long as it is kept within the Academy."
Reading the room, Reuben does not make an attempt to. Reuben is not foolish enough to ask what she intends to do with the stone, or what the Academy of the Hand intends to do with the stone, and instead takes this act of faith as an act of goodwill and something that will gain his trust for now. But he's weary that his group might see it as a bribe instead. So it goes further to say, I understand why my group has colored your opinions of myself and how difficult this action might be. Know that it does not go unnoticed. Thank you.
As I have said, any inquiries that you have regarding the shard will be allowed. Any wishes or desires for the conglomerate to peruse the object at the Academy will be taken into account. However, this was detected by us as being a remnant of an issue we thought concluded a year prior. We wish to make sure that all efforts to keep it secure are maintained. Nothing against the conglomerate, but individuals in your organization in the past have proven quite troublesome when granted such power. However, we understand that there is a new leaf being turned in Jernaris, and your operators have only been sent out into these parts following the exact dictum of the Great Church. So, if Kren is absolutely fine with you taking this other shard, Kren nods his head. I believe the Dark Flames are all in agreement. They all kind of nod. The bugbear last, they all kind of turn to look at him. Just a solemn nod. "Then our business here is concluded," she says, standing up, taking the stone in her hand, and very quickly kind of moving in the next minute, casting the teleportation circle, getting ready to just dispense and leave. Unless you have anything to interject.
Reuben gestures a goodbye. Sorry. A customary goodbye of his people.
Yep. And she would kind of like show a Jernaran noble gesture, which you weren't expecting. like towards the terminus of her spell, and then kind of finalize it, casting the circle and marching through. The next few moments kind of pass with the portal to wherever the teleportation circle being open. The next few seconds, and then it's gone, and she's moved through and disappeared, leaving you all in quiet. The council, a few of them kind of stand up, making kind of gestures of, acknowledgement that they're kind of done for today. And Kren and the bugbear, Kolar, are the only two that remain at the circle.
Seemed rather wise.
Ruben takes a moment to kind of collect his thoughts. So if anybody else wants to speak first, that's entirely fine with me.
But still sitting on anger for Hero. He can't even interact. He's like, I recognize shit's going down, but I just want to punch a lizard. he moved so that they can see the angry face Soma.
Soma, stank face, go!
Amazing.
The SSS, Soma, Shigiri Soma, stank face.
Yeah.
Anything amongst yourselves? Any?
So after Ruben collects his thoughts, he basically begins by talking to Kren and the bugbear, and he says, as an agent of the conglomerate, and he kind of squirms a little bit saying that out loud openly because he's so used to not. He says, I hope you understand that the reason I revealed myself is because finding what acts have occurred here from others in my organization, I did not want any idea of deception or taking advantage of your open host.
We have no issue with you, conglomerate. As was stated by my associate, you are a member of an organization that has had a troubled past, but the more recent representatives who have presented themselves to us here have shown good grace and good measure. It may be an issue for those who were more affected by those actions. You see Kolar the bugbear kind of lean in and says, Lady Maris comes from a house of repute in a town to the west of here. City, actually, if I remember its rise to station, known as Benish. She is a member of a family that was very powerful, very competent mages who were in league with your organization. They turned coat when they learned of the ill powers present in the Lich Majir, and helped many in Benish cast off the shackles that would have led them into their demise. During the darker aspects of the Civil War here in Munio, many conglomerate mages used the stuff of people to create unwitting but unasking and unerring soldiers. I'm sure you're familiar with Nyctalopes. But you would be. Conglomerate golems that, instead of having just no brain and are controlled or given automation, are basically given the soul of a person and are like super undaunted. or Super Warforged, if you're familiar with that term.
Mm.
He says, they have factories, some of them still operational, in the mountains, at least according to the hand's work. It is definitely his endeavor to work with the conglomerate as it stands to stop these open factories and bring about an end to the pollution that was left behind by them. So, we are at an understanding. We agree that there's definitely work to be done. Whether or not that is your current business or not, as you said, you've only just arrived, and with other matters intended, so much that is up to you.
Yes. Unfortunately, there's fire in Ruben's eyes hearing this story. He is. It is vile to his ears, the things that were just spoken of, for people who called themselves part of his organization or turned coat and took advantage of it.
He was mainly saying that Lady Maris turned coat against the conglomerate to stop.
Oh, I see. Got it. Okay. So, so second part gone out of that. Yeah, but he's unhappy about that and kind of is spitting flame. And he says, I wish that my mission were in line with that. But unfortunately, vile acts happen all over the world. And my nature is of a different one.
So much the better. It does seem that you and yours have much to discuss regarding your nature. I would suggest one thing to you, Conglomerate Mage. The Bugbear speaking. My people are very keen on their capabilities of cloaking themselves from sight and hiding away from others. I know your goals more than likely are true, and you intend to do great works on behalf of your organization here in Osiria. But I assure you, keeping those close to you in the dark regarding your efforts will cause you more pain further down the road. Pain you can avoid now.
His wisdom.
For the Council of the Dark Flame.
What was that?
The wise men of the Dark Flame, the Council.
Mm-hmm.
They are very wise.
His wisdom. And were it not that we had just met on the day of yesterday, that might have been something that they might have known in time. But there is no time like the present. And he turns to both Estella and Soma.
I do appreciate honesty, and glad that that is out of the way now. Your intentions are to help resolve what had been done previously, meaning the Lich Maze here.
Ages ago.
Right, yeah. But I mean, like, kind of clean up the reputation.
Yeah, exactly.
Your efforts and mine have been, it seems, parallel for quite some time. I've been following along your footsteps for much of my journey as I worked to undo the Lich Mage's work, and that of some ex-conglomerates causing trouble in Nock. It was by chance that I was able to join the heroes of the library for your journey into the Dread Realm. I was heading to a different location until the church asked me to join you. And well, it now seems our fates are tied. for better. And he looks meaningfully at Soma, or for worse.
Lucky
And
you.
I,
Hold on,
and
wait, hold on, Tom. You're coming in really quiet, buddy. You keep trying to
Yeah.
interject, but you get talked over because you're coming in
yeah,
so quiet.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you,
No, I
Tom.
keep
Who's Tom?
Yeah, I keep seeing his face move. It looks
Oh.
like he's about a little
I
better.
didn't even hear
but-
Tom.
Yeah, you're so quiet. Why is that?
Tom, you
I
gotta
think
say
he's
what
is he
Oh,
muted?
No, check your Discord. It might be coming in through your webcam mic. That happens to me all the time.
Say it with your chest, Tom.
Yell at him.
Say it with your chest.
It's John Soma. Do, do, do,
Oh yeah.
do.
Ba-ba-da-ba.
Now you're muted.
We can kind of hear
So
you.
muted. So muted.
Good times. Good times.
I heard him a second ago.
I
We're
heard
having,
you
we're having
too.
technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties, everyone.
I accidentally cast
We
silence
could-
when I gestured at Soma.
He just,
We could cut to
he just quit. He said, "Forget it."
hunting.
He
Yeah,
said,
let's-
no more.
Let's cut to that. So if you're just hunting for
No.
food and you're
Still
hunting-
muted, sir.
You were he turned green,
muted.
but it was
Still muted.
so quiet that we couldn't hear it.
Yeah, that's real strange.
Turn up
Hold
your
on.
output.
Hold on, new plan. Try and join the audio for the Zoom call.
Well, is it still bad?
There we
No,
go.
Hey,
there
there
it
you
is.
go.
There it
Much
is.
better.
Okay.
Enough
There he
toggles and it
is.
eventually works.
So you were saying
So say, far be it from me to blame anybody for their associations, and Soma will hold up his wrist with the Daggett bracelet on.
house diagram.
Another house at play.
In Nock, it's always houses at play.
True.
Out in the field.
We
You
found
heard I'm just going
shit.
to interject in all their shit, too.
John, I need a survival roll. Hezrod, I need a nature roll.
Survival.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Hudson.
Survival.
Avran, you're out and about just training, doing your thing. You know,
Do your thing.
being
Training.
awesome.
Oh.
Out in
And
the field.
as you're kind of doing that,
Damn.
a orc kind of walks over to you and kind of is watching your moves. Just seems curious. This orc, so a fighter type, definitely not a spellcaster or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, he's just kind of taking you in, watching you go about your business.
Don't one of those things where like the sword masters they hold like the handle and they spin it with one hand on each of their sides like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's an axe, but you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's cool.
As you're kind of, moving the axe about, he kind of asks just aloud, almost not even directed towards you, and he says, the question he asks is, have you not had much training with axes?
He stops mid swing. It's not my preferred weapon, but I make do.
It's a mighty axe that you have that you're wielding there. You are using War Fury, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A very fine bit of relic kind of walks over to you and says, "Might I see it?"
He hands it over. Yes.
Kind of looks it over, and you see him kind of like go straight for the shaft of the weapon and kind of looking at the butt cap of the shaft.
Mhm.
And he kind of grins. Interesting. Kind of hands that back to you. And if you kind of quickly do like a perusal, you would see that there is a small axe symbol on the bottom. Very hard to note. Not anything anyone's ever kind of looked for. But the axe symbol, it's two axes kind of crossed with fire kind of emanated around the two axes. And the mark kind of seems to be dwarvish in craftsmanship.
That's cool. Never noticed that.
he says, if you're not terribly familiar with the weapon, it might behoove you to use a weapon you're more familiar with. I assume, based on your cross, you are an Atavian swordsman?
Yes.
It wasn't too long ago we had a very renowned member of the Osirian Church as a general of the Dark Flame.
Did he have the surname Sloan?
No.
Or she?
The surname of this one was known as Vester. Christinger Vester.
Vester.
I believe he goes by the name Shambles now, but he does still answer to the name Vester when it is brought to him.
Mm.
He was a very skillful swordsman, but it was not his only forte. He was also very capable at hand-to-hand combat, a master of arms, a gladiator of sorts.
Yeah, everyone's just intent. He's listening.
I believe he is currently, or no, that was about 3 months ago. The grand tournament at the capital. I unfortunately could not break away to go and see it with him due to the missions here that I've been dealing with. A number of ill repute organizations still wander about in Mutis. Anyways, the thrust of my inquiry is he kind of moves back over to a group that's not really paying attention to what you're doing, but is kind of present. And he kind of taps this younger looking hobgoblin on the shoulder, who appears to be kind of carrying a number of weapons over his shoulder. He kind of pulls them off of his shoulder like a caddy would pull like clubs off of his back, and kind of moves through the swords, grabs one of the scabbards and hands it to the orc you're talking to. And he kind of walks over to you with this in hand, and he says, the weapon you carry upon you has the mark of Durgaden the Black, a dwarf. It would be of great interest to the dwarfs of Bonrock, who I frequent on occasion, to have this weapon in their collection. I assume you'll not be making your way to Bonrock anytime soon. Looked like you and your group were on their way somewhere else. But as fair trade, I could grant you this weapon. And he kind of walks over with the sword that he took from the hobgoblin over to you. You'll note that the weapon he is kind of granting you appears to have a very ornate, old-style Osirian kind of hilt. And it appears to be kind of a thinner blade than a normal longsword would be.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot longer also. When you kind of pull the weapon free, the blade appears to be kind of set inside of the guard, almost like a full tang, but you can't see any like remnants of the bottom of it. And there appears to be a very strange kind of pin kind of slotted into the hilt on the base. And he says, this weapon was granted to us by a member of the Comus Palatinus when they aided us as a gift to be granted to our council. I have held on to it as Master of Arms of Darkflame, and I'm willing to trade it for the axe that you have in your person.
Interesting. It's fine.
Yeah, it feels exceptional in your hands. He says the weapon was one that was told to have a secret to it. He asked for the weapon back. Sheath it, hand it back to him. And as he kind of takes it, you see him kind of tap the pin and then kind of move it out of the hilt and then set it into like a small little thong around the hilt, around the scabbard of the weapon. He then says something in Old Osirian, which translates to you, light come forth, and draws the hilt and it seems to remove off of the blade, and as it comes off, the hilt ignites with radiance, and a beam of radiant energy kind of emanates from the hilt.
Oh, that's fucking
He
cool.
then says, dispense, and then reslots the hilt to the blade, returning the pin to its position. And yeah, I'm a complete hack. I know that. I love Slayers. Shut up.
It works.
Fucking, that sounds awesome. I love it.
I think
Seems
it's
right up his
retro
alley.
enough that most people won't remember it. It's fine.
It's fine. I think
Yeah.
you're the only one
Yeah.
who knows what I'm
Yeah.
talking about anyway.
I got you.
Is it from that anime you recommended?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, out of
Well,
character, what
Yes.
what you'll note about the weapon in question is it is indeed a Sunblade, is it Sunblade?
It's Sunblade.
Sunblade?
I know there's a Sunblade and
Sunblade.
there's the Sun Sword, but the Sun Sword is unique.
Sun.
Yeah, there's Sun Sword and Sunblade.
Yeah, Sun
I
Sword
think
is
the Sun Sword
unique
is something
for
else.
Curse of Strahd. This is a Sunblade, so
Okay, gotcha.
in its light form, it's just a longsword.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's Sunblade.
It is exactly what a Sunblade would be when it's pulled from the hilt. When it's in its
Nice.
Estoc form, it is a greatsword that does piercing damage and is a +2 weapon. And it does an extra d12 on critical successes, while it is an Estoc.
A stock form.
Cool.
So
It
it's
means long ass blade.
a greatsword.
Thin,
Piercing
but long.
greatsword.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a sword blade, like a real physical sword blade. Then if you push the pin
Right.
and pull the handle off, it's then a Sunblade.
I mean, yeah, everyone will accept.
Bullshit.
You are trading War
Wholeheartedly.
Fury for this weapon.
Yeah.
Stabby.
Okay.
More his style.
I'll get the item card for you before next session. But
Okay.
for all intents and purposes, you can just drag and drop a Sunblade on and drag and
Gotcha.
drop a +2 greatsword on.
Don't fucking lose this one.
Listen, the last
really.
one wasn't my fault.
Was it?
I mean, it was kind of your fault for running up but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. Choices have consequences. That
He-
Choices have consequences.
He says, I thank you for this. I know that the Bonrock peoples will greatly enjoy this addition to their collection. I personally am quite skilled with the axe. I am not as competent a zealous person like yourself, or like I assume you to be. If you return to these parts and seek any sort of training, I would suggest that you go to the town of Bansur and seek out the one known as Rooklin de Bansur, a masterful paladin and holy knight of a different faith, mind you, but one that could benefit you greatly if you were to seek him out and find him. And he
You may need to suggest that your name is Ravran.
yeah, you might have
Ravran.
to
Yeah.
Ravran.
Okay.
He nods his head. Thank you for accepting this trade. And we'll kind
Thank
of go on about his business, Master at Arms. And then out in the field, I saw a really shitty nature roll, so you have no idea what you're looking for when it comes to the Wycian plant. So you are just kind of angrily looking for weed in the forest, Chad. We've all been there, right?
Actually, yeah.
Kel.
What was the name? Bansor? That was the town?
Yeah, Banser.
Okay. I think that's
And
it.
then Kel, yeah, surprisingly not terribly good on the hunt out here, unless your favorite terrain is forest. You are a ranger. I don't know what your favorite terrains are.
Honestly, probably. Let me double check though.
Okay.
Shouldn't it be swamp?
One would be what?
Forest, yeah.
Water-based.
Natural Explorer Forest.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Nice.
So then, yeah, you actually do manage to bag more deer. Yeah, you're very capable at finding them and getting them. So.
It's a feast.
But I also meet up with Hezrod and then roll my own nature roll and be like, no, dummy, look.
Yeah. So.
You're in a field of them.
Yeah, right.
I will allow for that. Go ahead. But what I'm going to tell you is your benefit for being in a forest searching for this item is mitigated by the fact that you know that they're rare in the forest. It's not a
Right.
very common thing. It's more something that's found up in the mountains.
Good to know. Good to know.
You'd be able to make that check. I'm just letting you know going into it. You're making it normal, so advantage, disadvantage. And
Yep.
you're also probably not going to get the expected, even if you roll really high. Oh my god, so much white. You find 3 Lycian plans.
Well, look right there. No, you'll see you point at the ground. Be like, you missed those? Huh?
Did you say the S-Doc version
It's
was the 1d12 or was
No.
on crit?
Yeah. It's the one that has the vicious and the +2 characteristic, correct?
Gotcha.
Hezrod like rips up the whole plant with like a whole bunch of dirt like still stuck to the roots, and he's like, "Ha ha!"
But yeah, there you go. Well, just so you know for next time you want to be looking up in the mountains. Needs a bit more of altitude to grow. It was real lucky that you found these, or I found these here.
He looks up at the mountains and he says, perhaps Hezrod could bring the mountains to us.
Let's not do that.
Josh is looking. I don't know if it's related to Hezrod or if it's something different. But it definitely was appropriate. Okay, so I'll assume that the group reconvenes. Is that accurate?
Yep.
And then sleeps.
Cooks deer.
Everyone shows off
Does
his new
things.
sword.
Feeds people deer. Great.
He also apologizes to Hezrod. He traded the War Fury.
Do you feel better with a sword in your hand?
I do. It feels more natural.
Then that is all that matters.
Stab.
Gives him
Hezrod does
grapple.
not need a weapon, but they help.
Indeed.
Hezrod is the weapon.
Truth.
Okay.
Hezrod is the true weapon.
Okay. So if you kind of move through that and then sleep, awake the next day, there's obviously downtime activities you can engage in. If you don't have anything planned or in your mind as to what you could be doing, I can fast track it. You spend a time in Darkflame, not really much is happening in the town. They definitely do have scouting groups kind of heading up into the mountains to check on these dragon cultists to ensure that they are where they're supposed to be. But other than that, there really isn't much kind of going on here. It's not always exciting in Fantasyland. There's not always action-packed fun times around the corner.
I actually have a question.
Okay.
I still have the adamantine chain, the 10-foot
Yeah.
adamantine chain. Is there? I don't know if this blacksmith here can do it, but is there a way to attach chain to sword?
No.
So I have 15. No, okay.
Not without ruining the
Trying
properties.
to
of
predator
the
this
sword.
shit.
Yeah,
The sword sunblade portion would be ruined.
I would be staying 15 feet away from Efren at all times
Yeah.
for mishaps.
It would be kind of cool. Like I'm thinking on it now. If you could like have a catch release for like
Yeah.
when you're throwing the chain forward, you let it go, and like the S-Doc blade goes flying off.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no.
That'd be pretty cool, but yeah, okay, that's fair.
Most DMs are of the opinion maybe or yes or maybe you have a good enough roll, but sometimes for me it's just easier.
It's a little extreme.
to
I will
just
admit.
say no.
Yeah. Pretty nice sword. Yeah, it's a ballistic sword. Kapow!
Go ahead.
I guess the only question I have is: are Soma and Estella going to talk about their discovery to the rest of the group at the moment, or are we waiting on that?
Soma
That-
won't. It's not his business.
Yep, that is
Yeah.
Getting-
your T2 spell.
I want to make sure you folks understand. I don't have anything in Darkflame. That doesn't mean there isn't anything in Darkflame. If you want to set a scene and then engage in it with another player, go for it. Or all the other players.
Mhm.
Go nuts. Cal put forward a very succulent opportunity. You're eating delicious deer meat.
Yeah.
Conversations can be had. You could have a moment
Excellent.
where you're out in Darkflame walking around with someone, etc. Just say what you're wanting the scene to be, and say what you're doing, and I'm probably just gonna nod my head and listen to you. Go ahead.
The scouts that are heading up into the mountains, Hezrod would be like, "Oh! Could you bring me back?"
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Perhaps that is enough devil's weed for you, Hezrod.
But you know what, Hezrod, here. You can have my flask here. Finish what's in there. And I'll hand him what's left in the flask.
The tea.
Three-fourths full.
Yeah.
It does not last very long.
I assumed.
Keeping
2 seconds.
keeping in mind, no one has healed him of his addiction. So yeah, like you're doing as much of the devil weed as you can. But I'd say a few hours out in the forest as you're searching, and then finally Kel starts helping you. Like getting the plant doesn't satiate your craving, so you
It's
do
probably
have
gonna need to be
Go ahead.
like dried.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna need to be dried
3
and
days worth of drying. So you're probably suffering the addiction properties of the drug. You're current.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's noticeable or not, but Hezrod is like crankier.
Yeah.
Hezrod, you look a bit antsy. Are you okay?
I am not an ant. I am a fish man.
yeah.
Did you smoke the devil's weed in there, Hezrod?
No, it needs to dry.
Oh,
He like stares
No,
at it
in
sitting on
the-
a table over in the corner as if like staring at it is gonna like
That answers her question, though.
He's
Yeah,
watching paint
yeah.
dry. He's
like
watching
he literally
paint
like
dry.
as he turns to look at it, like his eyes sort of like smolder, and he's like,
Avran, I
Yes.
believe Hezrod may be afflicted.
Yes. I see it.
Can you
He's
fix
just gonna-
that?
He's gonna pat him on the back and Kathleen has it's okay, Hezrod. This takes time.
"Oh,
The allure
what was that?
satiates.
What was that, Avran? That felt nice."
It's
That's called
it is-
friendship.
Indeed. One of
Looks
the
to be doing
gifts-
better.
One of my many gifts.
He's less pale. That's nice.
He kind of like turns to Avran and he's kind of smiling, and he just like reaches over and like pats Avran on the back in like a similar manner.
But less healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of situated, kind of gathered as Kel's kind of finishing up with the cooking, I assume, and bringing out the food. You've been granted a yurt by the Dark Flames for your own personal use.
Nice.
Feels like home.
it's inside the walls, but it's kind of on the outskirts near where all the lumber was brought in. And yeah, as you're sitting there,
Oh,
Venison gumbo.
I'm gonna show everyone my new sword. I'm gonna pull the pin, take off the S-Dock part, say the words, and then it's gonna light up.
weird.
Is it bright? Is it like super bright?
Very, very bright. Yeah.
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 So it's
That's
just
not
Kel just kind of goes like,
inside.
We're outside, right?
No,
We're
you're
in a yurt.
Oh.
Do you know what a yurt is?
Nope.
put that thing away.
like
God,
it's like a
my
tent,
eyes.
but it's like a
Oh.
tent house.
Confirmed. Never played Morrowind.
And
True.
Kel's just rubbing his eyes. It's just like, oh.
Sorry.
I got Josh for that one. Like, what the fuck's a yurt? Oh, it's a tent.
Where are
It's
the
a-
big ass bugs that we can ride
It's
around?
it's a big tent.
It's a
It
tent
sounds-
house.
It's a house
It
like that.
sounds like a bug.
It's a tent house because you can pack it up like a tent and then you can move
Yeah.
it. But
It's
it's
slang
also
for
a
yogurt.
house.
I'm surprised
it's kind
nobody
of
know what a
cool.
yurt is.
I was thinking about making like a silly joke when he was like, "You guys have been given a yurt," and it's like, "Oh no, thank you."
He's like, no. I will not be caught dead in the yurt.
Too.
Soma will wait for a quiet moment once Avran is done blinding everybody with his fancy toy, and just kind of quietly say, "So, when we're done here, we're heading back to Nock, right?
I believe so. Yes,
I
unless
mean,
unless
yeah,
another
I-
dread realm pops up.
I plan on the morrow taking us back to Nock via a teleportation circle. Yes.
well, that's even better. Tell you, much better than walking.
You,
Yes.
you
Very
have
much.
that ability.
I do.
That may
Fantastic.
come in handy.
We will be teleporting to House Rosenald.
So you truly are a wizard.
Yes.
Or
Can
a
I take
mage?
my weed with me?
But
That is far more than enough. We'll get some delivered from
Remember,
Goldie.
you're no longer addicted, so there's
Yeah.
like the allure is kind of, and you understand that it's a negative thing, like after being addicted to it. So I just want to make sure, Chad, you understand. That you can roleplay it however you want. I just want to make sure you understand.
This is how
Yes,
addiction
but
works.
he does know that it could come in handy if he has a bad day.
Based on his alcoholism, he does have an addictive personality.
he's also used to being addicted at this point, so he's
Yeah.
like, wait, I'm supposed wait, what?
I love it.
Wait a minute, I need this.
I mean, you could probably sum him up in a single word, and that word would be destructive.
Yeah. Oh wow,
He's
it's like
just
you're
got
on
a
a team.
destructive
Chaotic destructive.
personality.
And you know what? The best way to get the warm feeling of friendship is to be destructive to yourself. So they have to hug you.
That's true.
That's,
Don't take life
that's
lessons
fair.
from this game.
Lord Jesus, no, absolutely not.
He
Oh yeah,
feels
then at
more
this point,
close to
Avram
his
probably
god.
you should probably just assume that Hezron is his best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, John,
Kiora will skitter up and then hug
Everyone.
Hezron
Aw.
just
as a spider. As a spider
John, at
goes,
the start of every stream, just put up a "Don't try this at home" title card, like it's a professional wrestling show or something. Because
don't do this at home.
Anyway,
Yeah,
back-
Hezron has this like
It's John
he
Soma.
is equal parts like comforted and creeped out.
Anywho, sorry.
doo-doo-doo-doo.
Like-
Well,
But yes, perhaps we should get some of the what is it called? Is it just like river? Is it just weed? Cannabis.
So the
Lettuce.
was
River river weed.
the mer plant.
Yeah.
oh
I mean, if
Does
you
it-
feel
does it
we're
have an
looking for that,
official
we
name?
could have been looking for that.
Well, I mean,
Do it
Goldier
today.
would have access to it, and he could ship
I mean,
it with some
Kelly
wine. Wink.
Opens up his pack and it's just like a bunch of it. He's like, I've been collecting it the whole time. what have y'all been doing?
I don't know what all of your plans are, other than weeds. Once we get back to Nock, but our little adventure may not have gone as we hoped, and Kel, I am sorry for that. But
Hey, you did
We-
your best. You know?
we got the name, the fabricator, and that House Harrigan is involved, and I don't know what the rest of your plans are, but my plan is to take care of House Harrigan and this fabricator to right the wrong.
I mean, you were willing to literally give your life for my brother's life. So whatever you want to do, I'm for it.
It's even greater than that. He was willing to sacrifice his own soul for your brothers.
That is definitely what I meant.
I never did care for their love of bureaucracy. Too much paperwork for me.
I
Well,
was willing to send a soul to Hero, but perhaps instead I will cut off his entire flow of souls and send them somewhere else instead.
where?
I'm not particularly concerned with where, just that I'm sending them far away from this mortal plane.
So we
That is fair. Hezron can help with that.
Well,
Yeah.
you have my rifle.
We are to close the
Avran can't
portals.
chime in with "and my axe" because he traded the fucking axe. But
We are to close the portals then.
And my
No?
sword.
I don't
Aye.
truly understand what exactly the mechanism of the portals are. There was an eyewitness that said something about the idealists and their masks. All I know is that House Harrigan and the Fabricator seem directly involved with Hero. So perhaps once I'm done eliminating each and every one of them associated with this, there won't be any souls to pour through those portals, regardless of what happens to them.
And since we were sent to find out more, maybe the church, with this information that we have gained, might be able to aid us in that.
Oh, that's right. Hezrod,
Yes.
are you able to cast a spell to send a message to Memorial?
Yes.
Could you let her know that we are fine and headed back to Nock within the next couple of days? Or day.
In the morning.
No. So, well, no, just fast track it. This is the end of the day where
The first day.
This is the end of the
okay.
actual full day. That's what we're gonna say. I'm just fast tracking.
Gotcha,
Right.
gotcha.
We don't need to get
So,
loosed up on the semantics.
well, I mean, as in, like, we are leaving tomorrow morning once we're rested up
Yeah.
to go back
Gotcha,
to Nock
gotcha.
via teleportation.
Okay. Alright, we can let her know tomorrow then.
Okay.
We
Will
sleep.
your spear be done by then, Hezrod?
Later tomorrow, hopefully.
Well,
So
then,
I already paid him.
The spear is done. Yes. He dismisses that. Yeah.
Unlike certain short-sighted lizards, I know that an extra day or two will not change the course of a large endeavor.
Indeed.
Well,
Fucking stupid, self-righteous, short-sighted lizard.
So-
in my
pieces.
experience, that's not always the case, but one hopes
Dilma,
that
do you need some
that
tea
is true
there,
in this.
fella?
Just shove the tea down his face. And then the smile just gets so big. It's just like the whole screen.
Yeah.
Stares into.
It like zooms. It's like the face of the clown like floating machine in like Super Mario
Oh
World.
my
It's just
Oh yeah.
I had a
Oh,
visual
no.
and I went with it.
It's appreciated.
There is another matter to discuss. And he kind of looks knowingly at Estella and Soma, who basically telling them that he's gonna spill the tea.
She
Haha.
nods in acknowledgement.
And there is some information regarding my background that I want to be made clear, that I was hesitant to provide you based on us just meeting and based on some, shall we say, choice words that were uttered by certain members of the group. And he looks toward Avran. And he quietly reveals the pendant from behind his shirt. He just pulls his shirt away and reveals the conglomerate faction pendant. And he says, I am an agent of the conglomerate. I have been working in Nock to, well, do things that are very similar to what you all have been doing, though I may have chosen other ways to accomplish them. We have been on similar missions for some time. And, present company aside, we are now, or present ordeals aside, we are now linked inextricably based on what has just happened in the Dread Realm. Our souls are heroes once we die. For better or worse, our journeys are united even more than any affiliations that we have. And if we are to travel and continue this way, I would be doing you a disservice to not tell you who I am.
What would you say is your main goal?
Those of the conglomerate that do wrong when they should be doing right, that color our name, that take advantage of people using dark magics or bind themselves to magics to gain power, only to have them fall because of it. I seek to right the wrongs
I
of.
like that. I like that. I like that. I don't know about everybody else.
That is why I joined the
conglomerate
conglomerate in the first place.
to pay penance.
No. To continue to right the wrongs that once affected those that I loved, or those who I might love in the future.
Hmm.
He idly fingers a vial that hangs from his neck. That seems to has some white dust to it inside of it.
I am
Smoke
sorry.
that, thinks Hezrod. No.
No.
I am sorry for what I said of the conglomerate mage we've met.
Are you talking about Kelder?
No, yeah, actually, yeah.
There was also a
Kelder, but
conglomerate.
also, yeah.
There was a conglomerate mage back in the tavern when we met one of the Montule.
And
Yeah,
then there
right.
was
That was
also
before
those
Wombat.
conglomerate mages
Yeah, that was
back
before me. But
way back.
Yeah,
Right.
that's some of
into
the
So,
reason why.
ruin.
the conglomerate has been working with the Montules.
Some of them, not all of them.
Do you say that?
We
out
saw
loud?
one.
Do you say that? Do you ask that out loud, Hazrod?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, try
Because
role play through your
Mhm.
questions.
okay. Well, I mean, I'm not sure Hezrod's really connected the dots though. There.
I guess that's a.
Because I'm not sure.
Don't
I'm
worry,
not-
I'll
So,
do it. I got
Hezrod
it.
knows that the Montules use these flesh golems, but
got
I don't know if Hezrod knows that the conglomerate makes them.
No, they don't.
They don't.
No, Mondelez specifically make those abominations.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said earlier that the conglomerate also makes them.
Nyctalopes are not made out of flesh; they are made out of steel.
Oh, okay. And those we definitely have encountered. So, okay. I'm getting my
Yeah, you met a very large Nyctalope.
I'm getting my abominable constructs mixed up.
No worries. I understand.
Well, Ruben, with that out in the open, I know that some of the group is very familiar with dark magics that did not necessarily come from conglomerate agents. But
Hezrod shrugs, showing his dark hand.
I wasn't speaking about you, but that is, I guess, in a sense, dark magic, yes. That is part of the reason why I inquired so heavily as to whether or not you were a wizard or wizard. But there was one conglomerate agent that we came across in a tavern traveling with some priestess of the Montule. You wouldn't happen to know anything about conglomerate agents and the Montule, would you?
well, one reason that I was in Nock to begin with was to hunt one who once was a conglomerate down, and either bring him in or destroy him. My thought that was probably going to be the latter for this gent, but well, I believe was it not you that beat me to the punch?
This was after that.
Are you speaking of a different?
This was I was not around during their adventure in the mountain.
Do you know of Kelder?
I do know of Kelder.
He was the conglomerate mage in question that was eaten by the mind flare.
Helder was eaten by the mind flayer?
Well, he got away, right?
Elder was the elf, also known as the train master.
Right.
Oh, sorry, not Kelder. Jesus.
Yeah, that's
fuck.
why he reacted that way.
Sorry.
What's good?
Shit, I forgot the guy's name. The blonde mage. Whatever.
It doesn't matter what his name was because he's dead as hell.
True.
He's so
We
There
do
was
not.
There was a different conglomerate agent than
Yes.
whatever they dealt with in the mountains and that creature. No, there was a different one traveling with Amontule up towards a shrine far north of Nock and the cities along the way. He looked like an ambassador of sorts.
Yes, he was with Megan Montalay.
So, like, basically at the mention of the excursion we had where we had engaged with the conglomerate agents, Hezrod's like, oh, yes! And he's been, this whole time he's been carrying around that headless body of the doll that was ripped out of that giant construct's head. And he just, takes it off and he, holds it up. Says, yes, that is where I got this. There were other dolls there, too. They were annoying. They stabbed us a lot.
Avern was not there for the dolls.
A quick note on conglomerate artifice. What I would refer to in the Sunday game as a conglomerate primer. This is for you, Josh. Nyctalopes in early times, of the early portions of the Civil War, were created by extracting the cranium, most often than not just the brain matter, of a creature, but in such a fashion that it was extracted still alive. So still currently holding the soul of the mortal being that it was extracted from. Then placing that into a device, wiping the soul to white, which means that the soul is now effectively unbirthed. A soul that has no thoughts, memories, anything. Effectively destroying that person from existence. And then using that soul in the brain as the controller of the artifice, a nyctalope. This process is obviously messy. It has some problems. During the shaping of this form, several different individuals kind of came up with their different ideas as to how this should be done. What would be a preferred method for soul extraction, or rather ingenuine sentience is what is referred to in conglomerate means. A lot of Osirians in Munio region, specifically towards the eastern coast, according to your primer, utilize a technique that is ancient old, that would take a unborn soul or a soul of someone who was willing and bind it to a doll. Typically, this was done to create an undaunted, basically what you would know as a warforge. Undaunted is what they're called in this setting because
I've been picking that up.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
And again, saying it over and over again.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But
hey, did you know that Undaunted are Warforged?
Do you know that Undaunted are just like Warforged?
Whoa.
Some of these dolls were utilized as pilots for nyctalopes. So the dolls were actually made small, not mannequin sized, and were basically placed inside of where the brain would be in older nyctalopes and would power them that way. And so the doll
should you get in the fucking robot?
Yeah, should you get in the fucking robot? So the doll that Hezrod has displayed here is a clear conglomerate piece of artifice during the Civil War, relic of the Lich Majir, and it is destroyed. So whatever soul was connected to it has basically fled it. But it definitely does look like that is that.
Part of my primer probably is destroy those things, right?
Yeah, it's very much destroyed though. It's the
but if I see any more, those things are to be destroyed. Yes. Okay. The only contact I've had with the Monlays is there was I do know that there was another operative named Marin Montalais, who's the lead magistrate of the family, and some sort of priestess of some religion.
They all seem to be some kind of priestess of some religion. Some
I
will
don't
say with some disdain. Not towards you, just general disdain.
Montalais.
The only reason I know of them is because I inspected the auto carriage that you delivered to the Montalais family, similar to how I inspected the stone earlier. They gave me access to it not too long after you gave it to them, and at that point I became aware of the other operative, although I didn't really interact with them too much, and nothing seemed too out of sorts in that way.
Which
My
auto carriage
investigations
was
led
that?
me elsewhere.
Which auto carriage was that?
The one that you retrieved from Manus, I believe.
Oh, that one. She smiles to herself.
Golradier was there for that.
Yeah, but she was the one who killed the person. I remember that. I have it in my notes.
Killed that one.
As you can see, I have been following in your footsteps for some time.
Well, I think the preferred answer would have been no interaction with the Montalais, but I suppose that's fine. I just wanted to let you know that there does seem to be some kind of conglomerate presence with the Montalais. I don't know what that particular Montalais' goal was. They were going to some shrine at the north end of the peninsula, but just be aware that there may be more of your number than you're expecting involved in this.
Well, my primer told me of no other person acting in a similar area as me, but
Can always
I
be
just-
detractors.
exactly, and that's what I hope is not the case. But I fear maybe this region seems to be rife with that. And, well, if that is the case, we will find that out, I'm sure, fairly soon. And if we are aware of them, then they are surely already aware of me.
Fair enough.
I just want to make sure it's completely clear to you, Josh. As far as your station, your level operator is not one that's given out.
Right.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we go to Knock.
I meant more they'd be aware of me because
Oh, yeah, they're aware
of
of
my
your
interaction
presence.
with the Monolay.
What I just want to make sure you understand is if there are other operator or operatives, because again, operator is your level. If there are other operatives present here, they are very much subordinate to you. If they do not like fall in line, dispatch.
Okay.
Where,
I will tell you this, and I repeat that basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where again, in terms to the main map, are we?
Sure. So again, positionally, it's not going to matter once you kind of bamf. But
Oh, we're gonna Banff. I forgot.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to.
Never mind. Doesn't matter.
It's not going to
Doesn't
be.
matter.
It's not going to be a journey.
Doesn't matter. I forgot.
No worries. You're gonna.
I was just like, God damn, we got to travel
Yeah.
pretty far.
Yeah. I mean, I am.
Normally.
I am all for Samwise and Frodo run across and romp through the woods and the fields and the positions in between. But I assume that, teleportation circle will do the number just fine.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, we'll go
I
ahead.
mean, we'd make it. It would take a couple sessions, but
Yeah.
Well, there's a space in between known as the Wild Marches.
Yeah.
And there
That'd be
there is a point of interest there that would be fun, but it would again be the Sunday game fucking with the Friday game, and I just don't know if I'm willing to continue to do that to the Friday game, even after that Sunday game has concluded, finished their
Could we
story.
fuck with the Sunday game
Well,
No.
instead of they fuck with us?
No. The problem is, it's not the new Sunday game. Oh well, one of the problems as to why you couldn't do it is, you'll see. I'll explain more
Okay.
after. But focusing
Alright.
back onto the point.
We're gonna Banff.
We
Yes.
rest up and we get the spear,
Yeah, get the spear, and then,
and then we bend.
the next morning you teleport to the city of Nock.
Yeah, and whatever food's left, I'll give to the laborers.
Yeah, they'll take it. Okay.
everybody loves
Hearts and
free
minds.
food.
Okay. That you're muted. Sorry, Chad.
Hezrod walks straight out of the teleportation circle in the general direction of the woods bar.
Oh, so real quick note there. When you teleport to the city of Nock, you would appear inside of a room you've never been in.
Uh-oh.
You would see the assemblage of House Rosnald present
Here it goes.
clearly. And you would see about 6 individuals who very, very clearly display kind of a hostile posture towards you as you appear. They carry shields and thin blades and are kind of holding them up in a very much martial posture to kind of keep you cordoned in on the circle. And
Hezrod just immediately barks at them. Where is the door?
as you kind of like say your words, you see Estella raise her hands.
Yeah, Avron does the same thing. He just raises his hand.
Were you supposed to send a message first? Soma will say over his shoulder to Reuben.
Reuben steps forward to be plainly seen.
It's been some time. You hear a voice come from a different chamber, a woman's voice that you recognize, Reuben. The woman steps into the chamber. You see a woman with bright red hair. She's wearing leather armor mixed with kind of plate portions. On her back is a massive tower shield, and at her belt is a thin blade. She looks to you as you kind of look to her, and she says, "It's been nearly a year since last I saw you. Reuben, you saw her last 6 day."
Look at that
Oh,
fucking
she
shield.
She looks fire.
So
That's
for me,
wonderful
it's been a
shield.
week,
She says, "It's been nearly a year since last we spoke.
and for me, it feels like it's been a week.
The last time you talked to Rhonda Rosnald was a 6 day ago."
What's the date? Sorry,
Oh,
we've been
shit,
traveling
what?
for a while.
Oh, she was the one that she recruited him to help us in the fucking,
No, that was Saphira.
No.
Chad doesn't even know what's going on.
It's been a year. We were on the plains for a year.
Everyone else seems to be on par with what's going on, and she states the date. And the current date of this positioning, I'm going to my calendar real quick.
Wait,
Hold on a
it's
second.
been a year? It's been a fucking year?
I was thinking somebody was posing as her for
She says,
Reuben.
today's date is the 11th of Balloon, 1056, which would be an entire year after you remember it being.
Hezrod does the math and he
Since
says,
we left.
okay,
That's not supposed to be the.
out of my
Elf
way.
is-
I really need a drink.
Fuck. In Elvish.
These ones with you, Reuben. We trust you and your authority regarding matters. This one is free to go. Looking to Hezrod.
What does
Doesn't
Fox
acknowledge
sound-
him, just walks out the door.
Oh
and
yeah,
heads
you
to the
acknowledge
wood.
them as they move their shields to bar you.
What does fuck sound like in Celestial?
Wait, they're not letting us go?
I thought she said I was free to leave.
When did she say that?
I thought she just said this one is free to go.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
you
did say that.
Oh, fine. This one's free to go. Yeah. Then I'm sorry. I thought my brain did the same thing twice. Never mind. Don't. I'm a bad DM. That's what it is. This is a great
No,
way.
it's
No!
okay.
She did
stop.
say.
I mean, I'm just saying,
distracted you.
Assuming
like if they
It was
can
a
catch these
question.
burning hands.
Oh no, they let you go. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I already did the part where it was okay. She was asking Ruben if it's okay for them to go. I think is what I said.
Oh.
But Ruben
I
would have
see.
said
Oh,
yes.
okay.
It's fine. Hezron,
So,
go.
like I said, Hezron doesn't acknowledge them and just walks right past them out the door.
So wait, the rest of us
The
are
general
just here.
direction of Woods Bar.
As long as Ruben says it's okay for people to go, then it's fine. That's what the
They are-
transaction was.
They are not in my care. They can go.
They're not in my custody.
God damn it. That means
Custody,
Corso
custody.
already showed up looking for him and fucking left.
Yep.
If
Some shit.
I'll be
Rhonda,
honest
for
with
me,
you. Oh, sorry, real quick, chat. I'll be honest with you. If Corso was looking for you, he would have found you wherever
Yeah.
you were temporarily. But anyways,
Oh.
sorry.
That's
course.
okay, that's fair.
Rhonda,
That's
That's
fair.
cool. That's cool.
for
Josh.
me and mine, it has only been a 6-day.
Where have you been?
What has happened since I've been gone?
Business as usual. We anticipated a measure of issues regarding a political nature, as we discussed in our last meeting. Those have been assuaged. It seems most of the matters of town are focused around workers' unions.
Hell yeah.
It doesn't seem that the problem I had expected has reared its head. But you have been gone but a 6-day, but you say a year. These individuals with you, they are not known to me. The merfolk that just left?
He's
Cleric of Destruction. His name is Hezrod.
we are the heroes of the library.
Rhonda kind of stops him looking at Estella and says,
I'm not.
"No, I do know you. Estella Mouthenloss. We
Oop.
coordinated with your enclave to deal with a matter related to Ruben. Quite
Recently?
a while ago.
Ah.
Well over a year.
Well, seeing as it's been a year, it must have been quite a while.
The contract completed. You murdered him in a small town called Manus.
Ah, that one. We're just discussing that one, looks to Ruben.
Well, if what Ruben says to be is accurate, it was much more recent for you than it was for me.
It has seemingly only been a short time, and I'm sure I need to contact those who might worry.
Then I hope that your return to Nock is a pleasant one. As I said,
It won't be.
most of the
Elbows Soma.
most of the political
Their
matters
rib.
I had anticipated to be a problem, Ruben, were barreled under the problem of the working people. As I understand it, it would behoove us if my interests were rushed in this regard. Since your time has been lost to you, I'll give you time to catch up. If you have any requests, if you need any assistance in anything, if you need ground to fall to, House Rosnald, as ever, remains loyal to the conglomerate. We will assist you in any way that you need.
Thank you.
Master Rosnald, do you know of Fiona Woods?
The name Woods does... it is known to me.
Is she still at the is the Elmwoods Tavern still standing?
Yes, I believe so. In the Magic District?
Yes.
It's not one that I frequent often, but I am tangentially aware of it.
And the Grand Library, that is still There.
It is the purview of House Alistair, as always.
Glad they're all doing okay.
To my knowledge, it's not too far a walk from here. As you know, Ruben, you are in Knock. You are in the House Rosnald. You are in one of
Right.
its 7 towers.
Yeah.
And it's literally just like a short jaunt past the
Yeah.
Court of the Ten to Alistair.
Yeah, right across this town center, city center.
Yeah. When you are ready, I do have a matter. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. When you are ready, I do have a matter I would like to discuss with you regarding an individual who, despite the problems not going exactly as I had foreseen, one that has brought itself to bear. An individual named Morrigan Montoulet. And that is where we'll end the session for tonight. Thanks for watching those that did, and we will see you next week. And yeah, you did free the fucking dragon turtle, Brent. And yeah, it could have been a problem for them if they were walking. You jerks. You bunch of Sunday jerks. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time.